Coming back and looking at the film, it was not a very good performance in the first half as far as statistic-wise. I think we tackled very well on defense, couldn't really move the ball on offense. Same thing we talked about on Saturday night. But we were able to get turnovers, get the touchdown on the interception from Siegel, get the explosive play from Avery to J-Jack, and that gave us some life. And then two plays really, in my opinion, helped solidify or give us the chance to be successful. One is obviously the fourth down stop that we had at the end of the first half. And then the other one was I think we had a 4th and 6 or 4th and 7 on the first drive of that second half where we decided to go for it just a little bit out of field goal range and didn't want to punt. And Avery did a great job making a rusher miss, and Tybo, who's playing really well for us, and happy for Ty, makes a big catch and gets the first down. And then we scored on that drive and ended up playing really, really good football in the second half. And I told the guys after the game, what we've done the last 2 weeks is really impressive, to go on the road 2 different time zones at night, get back as late as we get back, trying to take care of the guys with some of our scheduling that we've adjusted. But to go on the road at Colorado, at West Virginia, and find ways to get 2 big wins in different ways that we did it was really impressive, and hopefully we can build off of that. Now this week we fortunately get to play at home. Another night game gives us an opportunity to get our bodies back and get our minds fresh with the extra time we have on Friday and Saturday. And we're going to need that extra time on Friday and Saturday. They do a lot of different things, as they always have, especially offensively. They're really creative in what they do offensively with shift trade motions. They've got a lot of talented guys on both sides of the ball. And so we've got to come up with really good plans and then spend some time and execute it and make sure that we know our assignments and can play fast.
KU's not the typical 2-5 team. What's the trick to get your guys to buy into that?
Well, I think it's because it's KU, K-State. I mean, I know that we didn't have as much life as I wanted us to have, or energy, when we got off the bus at West Virginia. We found a way. I don't think that's going to be the case this week, just because of the respect that both programs have for one another. There's almost all the same players that were up 11 on us in the fourth quarter at their place last year. There's plus you had the quarterback that they didn't have last year, and so they have obviously our full attention of our players and coaches, because it's a bunch of veteran guys on both sides of the ball that. They 2-5 is not indicative. I mean, they're ahead in all 5 of those losses and have a chance to win all 5 of those games.
Offensive line a little banged up. What's the update on Panzer?
Well, Willis will be back full go today at practice, which is good. Hadley, we're still trying to decide where he's at and the severity of his injury. Hadley is one of the toughest kids we have, from this state of Kansas. He's going to find some way to play. He's going to. And so we're hoping as the week goes on, he gets better.
Just how good is Austin Romaine right now, and what does he mean to your run defense?
Yeah, Austin kind of directs all the traffic. He and Austin Moore do a great job of getting us in the right calls and understanding the run game. And Coach Standard does a great job with those linebackers of knowing where their fits are at. But you still got to make tackles and make plays. And we've been saying one of the unsung heroes of our defense right now is Austin Romaine.
Chris, what did you like most about what your defensive secondary gave you, with not just limiting their yards but creating big plays?
We did a combination of playing man and zone, and we've been mostly a man team, and we kind of switched it up and played a little bit more zone because we're going to need to have both moving forward. And I thought we broke on balls really well. We pass things off and communicated. We're continuing to get better at communication, and if we're not on point this week with communication, we're going to have a big problem because of all the misdirection and all the things that KU does. But we're playing a lot of guys back there, which is good to see. The main guys are playing most of the snaps, but we're getting really good mileage out of a lot of guys that are depth guys that have earned the right to play.
I think a lot of folks saw Will Ancio being quite as big a contributor as he has been this season. What's allowed him to do what he's doing?
Yeah, a couple things. One, the growth that he's made from spring to fall in putting on some weight, understanding our offense, and then just gaining confidence. The fact that he's taken the lion's share of Lofton's reps since Lofton was out with an injury has made him much more confident, much more comfortable in playing. And I know that Avery feels comfortable with him, and he's doing it on both ends, meaning he's doing it as a run blocker and doing it in the pass game as well. So we're really pleased with Will, and I know that he's got a lot of confidence.
You lose a guy like Cooper and some other players who really lived to win this rivalry and were very vocal about what it meant to him. Who are some of the guys you're looking at right now who can kind of carry that torch this season?
Yeah, any of those 5th and 6th year guys that we have, and there's a bunch of them. We've got captains like Hadley and Austin Moore and stuff, but there's a lot of other guys. Chris Tennett's been in the program for an awful long time from Mill Valley. Ty Bowman's been in the program an awful long time. Taylor Poitier. There's just countless guys that, and to our fan base and to our alums, this is an important game, and we have to treat it as the next game on the schedule as far as what our preparation is Monday through Friday, because you can't play this game today and you can't play it on Thursday. You have to have a steady climb and a steady build of learning what you're doing with the game plan, or if you get ahead of yourself, you're going to be in a rough spot.
Coach, you had some issues with the quarterback run game on Saturday. Now you get Jalen Daniels, a real dual threat. What are your thoughts on that?
We didn't tackle well. That's the biggest thing. And, I know that Daniels is bigger than Green and has hurt us rushing the football. I know he did in 22 hurt us rushing the football. I went back and watched that game yesterday. So we've got to tackle better, and we've got to keep leverage better. Those were the two main issues that we had. Was the fact that we were playing man and there was one guy left sometimes to make the tackle, and Green was sometimes making that guy miss, or the fact that we didn't have great rush lanes and he'd sneak out, and it's a big factor, something that concerns us. He's a really talented kid, and I'm glad for him that he's healthy and gotten an opportunity to play, because I know that he's missed some time. Terrific talent and obviously a real big leader on their team.
Kansas has some fairly elite players on the back end of that defense. What concerns you the most? What do they do well?
They go attack the ball, especially those corners. Those corners have played a lot of football. That's the thing. You look up and down the roster. There's guys on both sides of the ball that have played a lot of football for both teams, and I know how important this game is for both schools and for both teams, and it's turning into a great rivalry. The last few years have been really competitive games, and we've found a way. Last year we were down 11 in the second half and found a way. Once again, there's so many. I watched the game in 2022, like I said yesterday, and you see a lot of the same faces and a lot of the same names. And the positive thing is you see a lot of the same guys for us too. And so both veteran group of guys, you can throw the records out. You can do all it. Doesn't matter what anybody's done last week, a month ago, a year ago. Man, it's going to be a great football game Saturday night.
So I take it from that, you're not going to spend a lot of time talking about you've won 15 in a row in this?
No, I never have and never will.
Coach, just to go back really quick, I counted up. I think it's roughly 3,000 miles round trip over a span of 7 days, 3 different time zones between Boulder, Manhattan, and Morgantown. Do you feel a sense of normalcy now that you're back here, or is it just taking some time?
It'll take a little bit of time. I mean, look at how tired Lackey is, and he hasn't even played. It just takes a lot out of you as players, as coaches, and it's probably the benefit of us playing at night. We're going to be able to utilize that time and adjust the schedule a little bit so that the guys can get a little bit of sleep, because ultimately nobody's going to feel sorry for you, and ultimately come Saturday you've got to be ready to go. But it's our job as coaches, as support staff, to construct a schedule and get a plan so that our guys can be as fresh as they can be on Saturday, but be mentally and physically prepared as well.
You guys are obviously 6-1. have everything still in front of you. How does that feel?
Fortunate and proud of the guys for accomplishing what we've done in 4 conference games, 3 in the road and 3 at night, and that's difficult. And then we finally get a home game, which is exciting for our fan base, exciting for our players and families that are going to be able to come to the game. But we, as True says, we really haven't done anything yet. We really haven't done anything yet. There's teams above us in the standings. There's teams that are even with us or below us that can catch us quickly. You cannot get ahead of yourself in this league. And now when you expand it to the amount of teams that we have and you don't play a lot of those teams, the only thing you can control is yourself, and that's what we have to do each day.
And finally, that said, what do you feel like is the identity of this team right now?
It's a toughness. It's a togetherness. It's a bunch of guys that play for K-State, play for the name on the front of the jersey, a bunch of guys that have held each other accountable. And it's been a different guy all the time, or a different group of guys that have helped us win or help us be successful. Guys like Simon. Simon McClanahan's done a great job kicking off and punting for us, gotten better and better. Ty Bowman getting an expanded role. Jack Fabris, Jordan Allen on kickoff being a factor. I mean, there's so many guys that's what's fun is everybody's writing their own story to collectively make us a good football team right now. But we got a long ways to go.
After the game, that the game plan was to throw the ball, but any concerns also with Avery obviously coming off that injury? Were you being a little cautious?
Honestly, no. We really weren't. We wanted to try to establish DJ, and they basically were not going to allow us to do that. And so we had a really good plan to say, if this is the way it goes, we're going to utilize the guys that we have, the guys that we know are really good football players at wide receiver and tight end, and even our backs coming out of the backfield. And like I said, the maturation of Avery as a quarterback and throwing the football and understanding and seeing defenses pre and post snap he's come a long ways, and he feels a lot of confidence with what we're doing. And so that ended up being the plan of, okay, now first down, now second down, didn't matter. We're gonna spin it around. And he felt really confident. We talked about it on Saturday night. He was really calm, and our guys made plays for him.
Kansas has a few really talented running backs that they sort of rely a lot on offense.
Well, because they can do everything, meaning you can't just say we're going to try to stop the running backs, because if you do, quarterback will pull the ball and beat you, or they'll run option and beat you, as well as you can't commit everybody up there because they're talented enough with their wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterback to throw the football. So we have to do a great job of mixing our coverages, mixing our pressures, mixing some of our base defense. You're not going to stop these guys. They're too good. You've got to try to limit some of their success, and that's even a challenge because they're one of the best teams in red zone offense too. When they get down there, they're scoring touchdowns, and very similar to a lot of the games that we play. We cannot settle for field goals, and we got to somehow find a way to create a couple of field goals for them rather than give up touchdowns because they're scoring them at a high rate.
What has Ty Bowman done in specific to earn more reps as the season has continued?
Consistency. That's the biggest thing, is just Ty's been so consistent, route running, consistent as a leader, consistent as far as knowing where he's going to be, and Avery knows where he's going to be, and he's a big target that I'm so happy for Ty that, he's coming into his last year and one of the best special teams guys K-State has ever seen, period. One of the best ones that I've had in the 6 years that I've been here, and we've had some dynamite ones. But as far as a four-core guy, as well as now getting an opportunity to not just contribute but have an impact on what we're doing offensively. I know that everybody on that football team is excited for what Ty has been able to do because he's earned it.
I was going to ask you about Andrew and how he did filling in for Carver. How did you feel about that? I know it was a tough night running the ball, but that was partly them too. Yeah,
I thought he did a nice job. Andrew's been around so long, and to ask that kid to play all 4 positions, and even in the spring we had him play some center. That's a guy that made his first start and been here a long time, and everybody in that locker room trusts Andrew Leingang, and I thought he played well. They did some things, I thought, up front and with some blitzes and stunts that we had some problems with. But in the pass game, I don't know if Avery ever got hit. There was one time on the fourth down where he scrambled out, but we kept him really clean, and that tells you an awful lot about the penetration of those guys to stop the run, and we were able to keep him clean, and so he could make some good throws.
With that said, with keeping him clean, I guess I was going to ask a little bit too prior to what you said there. Was this just in terms of how he handled things, just being calm and confident, was this maybe one of his better games?
Yeah, without a doubt, considering he wasn't a part of the run game, once again, because we didn't want him to be. We wanted to throw the football and run DJ and Dylan. It was one of his best games. And guys, the ones that were there, that was loud in that first half now. I mean, they had it cranked up. And I know second half it wasn't as loud, but in the first half and that first drive of the third quarter when it was a close ball game or a one-score game, it was really loud, and he handled everything. We didn't have any of the false starts and those things that we had a little bit before. We've got to clean up some of the dumb penalties we had on defense, and they were all good calls. We've just got to clean it up, and we'll teach some of the young guys that had the penalties. But I thought Avery had just total command of what we were doing.
Finally, I wanted to ask you about Asa Newsom. This has been a interesting and harder road back for him maybe than most would surmise, I guess. But how close is he to 100%? And I'd just have you comment, too, on the recovery, because that you kept momentum with that play.
Yeah. He's a four-core special teams guy for us and has played more linebacker. He played probably the most snaps he's played at linebacker. He's just 12 months off of an injury, and he's getting more confident and playing at a high level right now. And I think there's more in Asa for sure. But you're right. He made a great play on that kick return. And you got to realize against Colorado, we only had one, sometimes two linebackers in the game. Never did we really have three linebackers, which takes a lot of reps away from Austin Romaine and Asa and Rex and whomever else, because of the style of offense we faced at Colorado. With us losing Bo Palmer, Bo Palmer got hurt. Everybody, I think, saw the game. Bo hurt his knee, and we'll have lost him for the season. And I'm sick for Bo because I saw it happen to him a few years ago, and he battled his butt off to get back here and play for his buddies. And he played his best game of the season last year against KU when we needed him, when we were down some guys. But that's going to put a lot more stress on all those linebackers to kind of fill in the snaps we're losing with Bo.
With an exception of a couple of the drives against West Virginia, how well has your defense been tackling this year?
Up until that game, we'd been tackling consistently. It's never 100%, never as good as you want it to be, but we've been consistent. We were not good at BYU tackling, and we're not good in the first half of West Virginia. But in other games against really talented people, and we've been really good. And 90% of that is knowing your angles, knowing your leverage, knowing where you can miss, and running your feet through contact and not lunging. And when we do that at a high level, we're a really good tackling team. If we stop our feet, don't run through our leverage and lunge, we're a very average team tackling. And our guys see the film, and they see that.
He's got two really good players ahead of him, but how much improvement has Joe Jackson made this season?
Yeah. I wish he would have gotten in the end zone. I wish they'd have given it to him, but I wasn't going to score. There was no reason to score on that last play with the time running out. But he's playing really well. And he's a guy that keeps getting better. Yeah, he wants to play. He wants more carries, but he's learning from DJ, and I hope he's getting the valuable information from DJ like DJ did from Deuce. And if he does that and continues to do that and learn from him, he's going to have a huge impact here still this year, but for sure in the future.
Keeping it with the Jacksons, Jaden has become one of Avery's most reliable targets. What's impressed you the most about how he's been able to improve?
Yeah, consistency. it hasn't always been easy for J. Jack, but he's a guy that when we believe in him, and he knows that sometimes that's been a challenge for us early on in his time here. But the confidence he has and the belief that we as a coaching staff have in him and the belief that the offense does and the belief that Avery has, the kid's a playmaker. And he fights through injury too, because he's been banged up a bunch but wants to play. And I would say it's kind of fun watching him because he's a K-Stater now. And I'm proud of what J. Jack has done here. And I like it because I see him pouring into some of the young guys that maybe are having some struggles, and he's pouring into those guys like people poured into him, and it paid off for him. And I appreciate him as a player, but I appreciate him more as a leader right now.